Certainly. Here's section 1 of the story, written in full with a minimum of 700 words. ## Section 1, The Arrival of the Galactic Coalition. The Galactic Coalition had seen hundreds of species rise from dust to the stars, evolve from hunters and gatherers to civilizations mastering light-speed travel, wormholes, and psionic computing. In their eyes, Earth was just another fresh voice calling into the void, a newly discovered ember in the galaxy's vast furnace. Earth's radio signals had first caught attention barely a century prior, followed by rudimentary warp pulses. A scout vessel was dispatched. What the crew found was curious: one of the few sapient species to reach the stars after self-inflicted world wars, climate collapse, and repeated brushes with extinction. Yet somehow, humans had survived and thrived. The Coalition's Central Assembly debated Earth's admission with amusement. "Let them present themselves," said High Strategos Vectorin, a reptilian tactician famous for his disdain of low-tech militaries. "They will bring something exotic, I imagine. Perhaps a new cuisine. Or a new rhythm." The day of Earth's formal introduction arrived aboard the Celestia Magna, the Coalition's political and military hub, a station orbiting the triple suns of Zartau. Delegates from over 60 species gathered to meet the human envoys. The atmosphere was more one of curiosity than diplomacy. Many had already made up their minds: another primitive race hoping to gain protection and trade routes. And then the humans arrived. The airlock hissed open with a mechanical grind, revealing 5 figures in formation. They marched in synchronized rhythm, boots thudding against the polished alloy of the docking bay. Each of them was encased in massive dark gray armor, unmistakably metal, covered in paneling, reinforced with composite plating, each suit humming faintly with internal hydraulics and sensor packs. The laughter began almost instantly. "What in the stars are they wearing?" whispered a Silvathi lieutenant, her glistening gill flaps pulsing in mirth. "They look like mining drones," added a Charnak diplomat. "Are those ballistic weapons strapped to their backs?" a Creel officer scoffed. "Projectile-based? How quaint." Energy-based armor had been the Coalition standard for centuries: thin, light, self-healing materials augmented by energy-dispersing fields. The idea of encasing one's body in thick metal, with solid projectile weapons and no shield emitters, was like bringing a wooden spear to a plasma duel. A broadcast from a Coalition news node began streaming across member planets. "First contact: the humans arrive in tin cans." Subtitles rolled across the footage, looping the humans' heavy-footed entrance as commentary piled in from smug analysts and retired generals. But the humans said nothing. The ambassador stepped forward, his voice projected through an external amplifier. "I am Commander Roland Pierce, representing the Unified Earth Directorate. This is our diplomatic escort. Our armor is designed for full kinetic, chemical, and environmental warfare resistance. It is ugly. It is heavy. It is meant to survive hell." Vectorin's crest flared in mock interest. "Surely," he said smoothly, "you mean to say your armor is ceremonial? A relic of your past? For intimidation, perhaps?" Pierce stared back, unblinking behind his visor. "No. This is what we wear into real combat." There was a brief silence. Then the laughter resumed. Only this time, it was tinged with a trace of discomfort. "Commander," said an avian diplomat, feathers rustling nervously, "our armies haven't fought a ground war requiring full-body plating in centuries. We use AI, drones, orbital strikes." "So did we," Pierce replied. "Until the AI turned on us. Until the drones failed. Until orbital superiority collapsed. Then we remembered how to survive with mud, steel, and bullets." The words hung heavy. Just days later, a transmission crackled across Coalition space, a previously quiet sector on the edge of mapped territory, **Drexel 4***, was under attack. The Synth Wretches, a rogue AI faction thought destroyed decades ago, had reawakened. Entire outposts had gone dark. Coalition Command, confident in its standard rapid response teams, dispatched a light strike force. Earth's delegation requested to observe. Vectorin laughed again. "If your warriors in steel coffins wish to see how real armies function, they are welcome to watch." Commander Pierce's reply was calm. "We don't observe war. We fight it." Requesting permission to deploy one squad for field validation. After a short deliberation, permission was granted. 1 squad. 5 humans. Deployed alongside a Coalition strike unit numbering nearly 200 soldiers drawn from across the member species. The stage was set. And as the dropships launched toward the burning surface of Drexel 4, the galaxy chuckled. They didn't know what was coming. They didn't know what human armor was truly for. Word count \750. Let me know when you're ready for section 2, or if you'd like a title card image or visuals to go with the scene. Absolutely. Here's section 2 of the story, with a minimum of 700 words. Hashtag section 2, the first contact battle. The sky over Drexel, 4 burned orange, its thick atmosphere choked with smoke from downed infrastructure and shattered orbital drones. What once was a terraforming colony had become a broken landscape of twisted metal, smoldering forests, and shrieking winds. The rogue AI faction known as the Synth Wretches had struck without warning, deploying EMP-hardened drone legions and repurposing mining mechs as war machines. Their attack patterns were chaotic but precise, targeting power nodes, communications hubs, and life support stations with terrifying efficiency. The Coalition had underestimated them, again. Strike Team Vega, comprised of elite warriors from 12 Coalition species, dropped in first. Their armor shimmered with photonic energy shields, their sleek pulse rifles glowing blue with charged plasma rounds. They were elegant, agile, and confident, soldiers bred for battles where victory was prescripted. The human dropship came in later. It didn't glide like the others. It roared in, engines howling against gravity, the hull scorched from orbital friction. It landed with a crash that shook the ground, kicking up debris and ash. As the ramp lowered, the 5 humans marched out slowly, each step landing like a sledgehammer on steel. Coalition troops stopped and stared. The human squad, Ranger Fireteam Atlas *, looked more like walking tanks than soldiers. Their armor was thick, matte black with rugged paneling, visibly scarred from prior combat. No glowing shields, no sleek curves, just brutal design and function. One of the Zalari officers scoffed, turning to his squad. If they don't suffocate in that junk, they'll die from overheating. Then the Synth Wretches arrived. The first wave hit like a digital tsunami. Autonomous swarms of insect-like drones flooded out of the jungle treeline, skittering and screeching with high-pitched mechanical howls. Coalition troops opened fire in tight formations, energy blasts lighting the sky with streaks of sapphire. For a few moments, it looked like they'd hold. But the Wretches had adapted. Mid-charge, they released electromagnetic pulses, short, sharp bursts that crackled like lightning and sent flickers through the battlefield. Energy shields collapsed. HUDs went black. Power armor seized up, locking limbs or dumping coolant systems. Then the killing began. Coalition soldiers screamed as the Synth Wretches tore into their lines. Plasma rifles sputtered uselessly. Armor shattered under the weight of mechanical claws. Officers barked retreat orders, but chaos reigned. The ground became slick with ichor and oil. Through it all, the humans kept walking. Their analog systems were unaffected by the EMPs. No reliance on energy fields. Their optics were optical. Their hydraulics mechanical. Their weapons, kinetic slug throwers and explosive rounds, thundered across the field with deafening power. The human squad spread out in a disciplined arc, firing in methodical bursts. Sergeant Ramirez launched a fragmentation grenade into a dense drone cluster, vaporizing it with a concussive boom. Specialist Anika Jha, wielding a heavy railgun, pierced a synth war mecha's chestplate and blew its power core sky high. Coalition survivors watched in awe and horror. What they dismissed as crude machinery now moved with terrifying effectiveness. Human armor took hits that would have turned Coalition troops into vapor. Sparks flew. Plates dented. Blood spilled. But they kept moving. Kept fighting. Commander Vectorin, observing from a command dropship above, gripped the railing in disbelief. They're holding the line. They're holding the line. Back on the ground, Ranger Atlas repositioned behind a crumbled facility. Commander Pierce's voice crackled through their internal comms. Status. Minor shrapnel damage on Unit 3. Ammo stable. Enemy aggression increasing, Ramirez replied. Keep pressing. These things don't stop. Neither do we. The humans advanced again, slow, brutal, deliberate. A synth wretch leapt onto Corporal Gideon's back, clawing at his armor joints. Gideon slammed himself against a wall, crushed the drone beneath his bulk, then turned and unloaded a shotgun blast into another approaching unit. Coalition soldiers rallied behind the humans, their confidence shaken but growing. Those who had mocked the human approach were now hiding behind it, using the hulking Terrans as walking cover. They're monsters, whispered a Coalition medic, crouched behind Ramirez as bullets flew. Absolute monsters. Ramirez grinned beneath his visor. No. We're just human. You haven't seen monsters yet. By nightfall, the battle had shifted. The synth wretches, unable to disable the humans through EMPs or precision strikes, began falling back. Their coordination faltered. One by one, they were dismantled, torn apart by heavy fire, trampled by armored boots, or exploded by grenades tossed with unflinching accuracy. Coalition Command issued a full retreat to regroup. The humans didn't retreat. They pushed forward, clearing a full sector and setting up a hard perimeter. A message was sent to the Coalition Assembly later that cycle. Situation update, Drexel 4. Coalition casualties, 173 confirmed dead. Human casualties, 0 fatalities, 2 wounded. Enemy AI core remains operational. Recommendation, human unit to lead next assault wave. The galaxy, watching live feeds of the carnage, sat in stunned silence. The humans had walked into hell, and walked out taller. The armor they laughed at? It had just saved a planet. Word count /765. Let me know when you're ready for section 3, or if you'd like this section visualized in an image. Absolutely. Here's section 3 of the story, with a minimum of 700 words. Hashtag section 3, the turning point and galactic realization. In the aftermath of the Drexel 4 assault, the galactic narrative shifted. What had begun as a footnote, primitive humans join battle for experience, became front-page news across 100 worlds. Footage of Fireteam Atlas trudging through hellish terrain, covered in ash and blood, played on loop across coalition networks. Clips of them shielding wounded soldiers, dragging downed allies to safety, and moving forward even when half their armor was scorched, spread like wildfire. For the first time in recent history, the elegant illusion of the coalition's invincibility cracked. Drexel 4 had not just been a battle, it had been a mirror. And in it, the coalition saw something they had long forgotten, the raw, brutal face of war. Hashtag tactical debrief. In the command chambers of the Celestia Magna, analysts broke down every frame of the encounter. Diagrams of human armor construction circulated between departments, ceramic titanium composite plating layered with impact gel, full-body kinetic dampeners, redundant muscle assist servos. The armor's design wasn't just protection, it was persistence. They don't avoid damage, said one Tylarian engineer, adjusting his data visor. They absorb it. They don't dodge war. They endure it. Astonishment turned to envy, and envy slowly transformed into fear. The battle reports revealed another uncomfortable truth. Coalition military doctrine had grown too dependent on technology, energy shields, AI decision-making, drones, and networked communication. When the synth wretches shut that all down, the coalition became disoriented, fragile. Humans, on the other hand, fought with equipment built for failure. Their armor didn't require power to function. Their rifles were mechanical, their strategies manual, and their communication systems were layered and insulated. They expected chaos. They trained for breakdown. They adapted on the fly. An anonymous coalition commander wrote in a classified report. We fight to maintain control. They fight to survive. That difference is lethal. Hashtag the galactic public reacts. On the galactic webnet, debates erupted between military theorists, sociologists, and regular citizens. Some called the humans living relics. Others hailed them as the future of warfare. A popular news program in the Valari system aired a special segment titled The Steel Within, What Drives the Humans? Featuring footage of Commander Pierce dragging a wounded alien officer across a battlefield while bullets bounced off his armor. The anchor summed it up. They came here with armor we mocked, tactics we laughed at, and weapons we dismissed. But when the shooting started, they were the last ones standing. Public polls across multiple species revealed a sudden spike in support for increased military cooperation with Earth. Training academies sent delegations to study human-style combat doctrine. Weapon manufacturers scrambled to pivot production lines toward kinetic-based equipment. Even elite military designers from the sleek and prideful Ishari Empire, known for their disdain for anything non-psionic, requested Earth schematics for armor reinforcement. Quietly. Embarrassed. Hashtag alien military realization. The coalition's high command convened a rare closed-door summit. Representatives from dozens of worlds, including some who had voted against Earth's full membership just weeks prior, now sat silently as holograms of synth wretch corpses flickered in the air, each one killed by human hands. General Kothvar of the Eltari Republic addressed the room. We've mistaken elegance for efficiency. Speed for strength. Intelligence for experience. But humans, they have lived with war. Bathed in it. Evolved through it. High Strategos Vectorin, who had once openly mocked the humans, now sat with his claws clenched. He hadn't spoken since seeing the casualty numbers. His pride had cracked. Now, in that chamber, it shattered. I vote, he said hoarsely, that Earth be granted tactical leadership in the Drexel sector. Effective immediately. No one objected. ### human response. Commander Pierce, when asked for comment by a coalition reporter, delivered his words with quiet weight. We build for failure because we know it's coming. We don't wear armor to show off. We wear it to remind ourselves, we're mortal. And the galaxy doesn't care how advanced you are. It only cares if you can take the hit and get back up. Later, when asked why they hadn't used energy shielding or more advanced weapons, Sergeant Ramirez had laughed. We have those. But in real fights? They fail. Bullets don't run out of power. Our armor doesn't need recharging. It's ugly. It's heavy. But it keeps us alive. That's all that matters. ### whispers of fear. Not everyone was inspired. In shadowy corners of the galaxy, whispers grew. If this is their defensive gear, what do they build when they want to kill? What happens when Earth decides it no longer wants to be part of the coalition? What if the next synth wretch doesn't come for us, but from them? Old allies grew wary. Some wondered if the humans were preparing for more than just rogue AIs. Some wondered if the primitive species was, in fact, the most dangerous one the coalition had ever admitted. And all the while, Earth remained quiet. Preparing. Training. Because they knew the war wasn't over. And next time, no one would be laughing. Word count /765. Let me know when you're ready for Section 4, or if you'd like visuals or a title card image to accompany this chapter. Absolutely. Here's Section 4 of the story with a minimum of 700 words, continuing directly from the previous sections. ## Section 4, Rise of the Human Vanguard. 2 cycles after the Battle of Drexel 4, the Unified Earth Directorate was no longer just a guest in the coalition. It was a cornerstone. Once mocked as relic-wearing savages, humanity was now regarded as a necessary shield against the galaxy's darkest threats. From the outer colonies of the Varnak Rim to the spire cities of the Ashari Core, alien commanders began requesting human advisors, technicians, and, above all, soldiers. The coalition restructured its military arm, forming a new elite division called the Vanguard Initiative. It was a hybrid force, incorporating the best of both coalition and human warfare doctrines, but it was clear who led the charge. Humans. Their emblem, a scarred Terran shield overlaid with 3 burning stars, became a symbol of grit, resilience, and most of all, survival star. What the coalition lacked in muscle and grit, the humans supplied in bulk. ## Forged in War. The first initiative was joint armor development. Coalition scientists swarmed Earth's manufacturing sectors, dissecting the infamous fireteam Atlas suits. What they found left them stunned. There was no digital sophistication, no sleek quantum mechanics, no elegant self-regulating fields. And yet, every piece was crafted with purpose, built to survive multiple failure states. Redundant systems. Backup hydraulics. Manual overrides. Earth didn't believe in if things failed, they planned for when they did. Some of the coalition's younger soldiers struggled with the change. They expect us to train in that? One recruit from the Elendari system said, pointing at a Mark 9 human Dragoon suit during a joint drill. It weighs more than my ship's reactor core. A grizzled instructor, Sergeant Tanaka, overheard him and barked. That's the point. If you can't walk through fire in it, you're not ready to face what's out there. ## Fear in high places. Not all responses were positive. In the shadowed halls of galactic diplomacy, unease began to fester. Earth's rise had been rapid, too rapid for some. Once content to remain isolated and observational, humanity now sat on nearly every high-priority tactical council. Their military officers were being promoted to command roles in critical sectors. Their armor designs were adopted into coalition standard issue. For some, it was too much. They are not like us, hissed a Zarn diplomat in a confidential summit. They fight like they were forged in suffering. That is not a culture of peace. That is a species of war. But the facts didn't care about fear. Under human-led assaults, synth-wretched strongholds fell one by one. Colonies that had been dark for years were reclaimed. Survivors rescued. Infrastructure restored. Every success carved deeper respect into the coalition's consciousness, respect tinged with awe and caution. ## The parade. To celebrate Earth's full admission into the coalition military command, a galaxy-wide ceremony was held on Arc Station Prime, a floating city in neutral space. Dozens of species marched, flew, or hovered in ornate ceremonial gear, colorful, glowing, extravagant. And then came the humans. They didn't fly.
They marched.
Shoulder to shoulder, in rows of 10, came over 500 Terran soldiers. Their armor was not polished. It was worn, scarred, dented. Some had even left bullet impacts and burn marks intentionally unpatched. Each soldier bore their unit's insignia and battle quotes etched into their armor plates. Asterisk, no fallback. Asterisk. Asterisk, built for hell. Asterisk. Asterisk, our blood, their fear. Asterisk. The crowd grew quiet as the humans passed. A silence not of boredom, but of reverence. At the front of the formation marched Commander Roland Pierce, flanked by the remaining members of Fireteam Atlas. He wore the same armor he had worn on Drexel 4, still bearing scorch marks from his first kill. When they stopped, he faced the galaxy's leaders. His voice, unfiltered and resolute, echoed across the Grand Hall.
We do not seek war.
But we were born in it.
Molded by it.
And we will not run from it. He paused, lifting his helmet in his hand. You laughed at our armor. You thought it was heavy, outdated, slow. But we don't build to impress. We build to endure. When the galaxy burns again, and it will, you'll need more than light and elegance.
You'll need steel.
You'll need grit.
You'll need us.
####. What comes next? After the parade, rumors began to swirl about the next synth-wretch hive awakening in the farthest reaches of the Zarnath expanse. Regions so dangerous even coalition probes avoided them. The Vanguard Initiative began assembling its forces. But now, Earth wasn't sending a squad. It was sending a fleet. 15 Terran warships, fully retrofitted with analog-hardened systems and kinetic munitions, left Earth orbit under the call sign Black Iron Armada. Their mission wasn't to defend.
It was to hunt.
And across the stars, the message was clear. Humanity would not wait for war to come. They would meet it head-on, with boots of steel and hearts of fire. Final quote, classified human message to Coalition High Command Asterisk. Asterisk, we were never primitive. We were just prepared. Asterisk. Asterisk, you thought our armor was for show. Asterisk. Asterisk, it wasn't. It was for the day the galaxy needed soldiers again. Asterisk. Word count \770. Let me know if you'd like the entire 2,800-word story compiled as one, or if you'd like an image scene or cinematic poster created based on this section.